It's got a soul, this hero farm. It falls asleep inside my arms. We work the fields under the stars. The love is here at Gold Shop Farms. Well, city life, yeah, had its charms, but we would dream of the fields under the stars. I fall asleep inside its arms. The love is here at Gold Shop Farms. The love is here at Gold Shop Farms.
What is going on, everybody? It is good to be back here for another farm meeting. It is the first Wednesday of the month, and we do these every first Wednesday of the month. I'm Morgan Gold from Gold Shaw Farm. For the next while, I'm going to be hanging out here with you guys, taking your questions, chatting, telling you about some of the stuff that's been going on the farm, and just kind of hanging out with you. I know that this is an early live stream, and a lot of people are wondering, well, what's going on? I actually did it for a couple of reasons. Number one, some of the feedback that I've often gotten from folks over in Europe is that, like, they can never participate in the live streams, and so I always feel bad that they're kind of just almost excluded by virtue of time zones. And so by trying to do it at a different time is essentially what I was shooting for today. And oddly enough, if I actually look at like my YouTube analytics and metrics, this is like the best time when most viewers are watching YouTube videos, surprisingly, who watch my YouTube videos. Fun fact. The other reason is I have a couple of things going on this evening, and so I didn't want to reschedule it and push it off to a different day other than the first Wednesday, and so there was that piece. And then the third thing is it's like hot as heck out here today, guys. Like it's gonna be, the high is supposed to be 86. It's like 82 right now here on the farm. That's degrees Fahrenheit for all my friends in Europe. Yeah, like this time of day, like I basically did all my farm stuff outside, came in around 11:30, had a quick bite to eat, changed my clothes, and got into like a fresh t-shirt and hopped up here to join with you guys because I'm not getting much done outside right now. It's not pleasant to work. And so figured why not just hang out with you guys and shoot the breeze. And so that is how we ended up with this live stream right now. And so there we go. That's what's going on. So again, thank you to all my moderators who actually were able to join today. I really appreciate it, you guys. And I will also say, hey, it's Don from Little Mountain Life. I'm going to talk about Don in a second. Hey, Debbie, what's going on? Yeah, I'm just like looking at the chat finally after doing my intro comments. Yeah, there's so many of you guys. Yeah, I'm definitely trying to keep cool. Like RJ is saying, what you're going to want to do is put your questions in caps. It makes it easier for me to see. Now, RJ, I know you've actually asked me a couple questions recently, but I want to answer your question. So I did not actually, there's a tractor parade, not in Danville, like RJ saying, but in Peacham here, that happens in our town every year. And I did not participate in it this year. I went to it, but I didn't drive my tractor in it. The year before I actually did. The reason I didn't was actually my nephews were up, and like it was like I wanted them to just be able to experience the tractor parade, but they ended up going to the tractor parade with me, and they had such a good time that they wanted to be in the tractor parade next year. And so next year I will probably have my tractor as well as some sort of hay wagon that I got to pull so that they can ride along in the back, and maybe we'll have some other surprises too. And so next year's 4th of July tractor parade here in Peacham is going to be off the chain. You guys should check it out. By the way, I'm wearing my Peacham Barn Cat shirt representing today, and you can see Lil Barn Cat hanging out right behind me here. So there you go. So hopefully I have answered your questions there, RJ. Logo, would you ever buy something exotic like a peacock? No, probably not. I generally try to shy away from having exotic animals. I'm actually working on a video that will probably come out later this month talking about exotic animals and pyramid schemes. It's going to be not quite a farm crimes video, but it's more in that genre. But I actually won't be going there. Hey, what's going on, Rose? Good to see you. The farm is doing pretty good. It's there's a couple things that I'm honestly not ready to talk about that bother me a little bit, but other than that, things are really good. It's funny, when I was watching the intro for the live stream here, I'm gonna just like kind of replay it here. When I was watching this live stream, I was looking at this shot of baby B and just being like shocked with how young she looks. I got really I just spilled coffee. I got really sad when I saw Jemima Puddle Duck there in her kind of final days. Oh man, I'm making a mess. Sorry, guys. And so it's just kind of funny to look back because this intro I edited like in early summer, and at this point we are like just at the last stages of summer, and things look kind of different. Like the trees have gotten bigger, the pigs have gotten a lot bigger. So like those pigs that you see right there are probably 3 times the size now. Like I said earlier, baby B has gotten much bigger. And so yeah, the farm's doing good, the dogs are doing good, and it's just been a lot of progress here. Oh, I'm glad to hear that you like the time zone change. Yeah, guys. Again, it's the intention here was meant to be like, let me just vary it up a little bit. By the way, though, later this month there will be a special live stream that will happen at night, and it's going to be like start like in the evening, probably like around 7 or 8, and then run until probably like 1 or 2 a.m. East Coast time. And what that live stream is going to be a celebration of the launch of the new Toby Dog book. So as you guys know, my book, Toby Dog of Goldshaw Farm, which is a novel written about Toby Dog when he first came to the farm, is going to be launched on September 18th. And so I'm going to do a special live stream so like we can watch the book essentially go live. I haven't exactly nailed down all the details yet, but stay tuned to that. If you're subscribed to either the Facebook feed or the YouTube feed, look like in the community tabs, and I'll put out some sort of notification. But yes, the book is there. I know a lot of you have already pre-ordered the Kindle. The Audible audiobook, which is going to be so good, and actually Don from Little Mountain's wife's Don from Little Mountain Life's wife is actually one of the folks who did some of the voices for it. I am so incredibly pleased and proud with how that audiobook turned out. Natalie, who's Don's wife, actually she does the voice of Lil Barncat as well as several other characters. But honestly, I feel so incredibly proud of the audiobook version of the book because it's me narrating it. The character voices are on point. We have sound effects. We have musics. Like all of it. It's going to be so cool. And so the pre-order for that's going to be opening very soon. And I actually have a behind the scenes video of making an audiobook that's going to be there. But, you know, basically that's something I'm super excited about. And something I've been spending a lot of time on as well around the farm. Whatever happened with the petitions we signed about hound hunting? Do I have any results? Lisa, quite frankly, I have 0 results, and it's kind of disappointing. So as you guys, longer time viewers might be aware, I've had issues here with hound hunters coming on our land and sort of the hunting rules that allow them to do that. And I've, pushed pretty hard here in the state of Vermont to, enact some changes to, get better respect for posted property and what that means, particularly from hound hunters. And honestly, nothing from a rules perspective has changed significantly. There's been some things related to coyote hunting that, I tried to participate in, and I think it made a modest difference, but not much. And so to be very blunt, Lisa, I don't feel like I've produced any results whatsoever there. I mean, I think maybe the only result is actually awareness around the issue. And, it's funny. I see the hound hunters drive by every morning right now because we're in the midst of bear hound hunting season. And every morning at 6 o'clock, it's like a couple trucks with like barking hounds and howling hounds, like do like a slow roll past the farm. And it's kind of annoying, but they don't stop, and they've been staying away. So it is what it is. So there you go. Isabella, the ducks are doing really good. They are enjoying the life out in the permaculture orchard. They will probably move inside to like the lower pasture. I'm actually going to probably move them in to where the pond is. I'm probably going to do that like in late September, early October. And so stay tuned for that. But lots of happy ducks. All right. Okay. I know, I'm glad you're here, Privateer. I know, Pixie, yeah. See, this is cool that I'm catching a lot of people who don't usually get to participate in these. And so I know there are folks who are grumbling, and if you're watching this on the replay, and this will be up for the replay, I'm really sorry. Yeah, there you go. Diane, you don't see Lil? Like Lil, who happens to be the publisher here at Lillian Books, which is the company that is publishing my book. So if you actually look, you can see it's like a drawing I made of Lil, basically sitting on a pile of books, pretty much like she sits in her little niche right here. But yeah, Lil, you want to say hi to everybody? Yeah? I don't know if you guys can hear me all that well. But yeah, this is Lil's favorite hangout spot. It's funny, for the last couple of weeks, she's been sleeping on the couch mostly. and for whatever reason, she didn't appear in a lot of live streams, and people got concerned. But in the last week, she decided to start using her little cat tree again, and so yeah, things are good. So Michelle, Abby has actually not moved to the north pasture. So as what Michelle's referring to here is I was making plans to actually move Abby up to the upper pasture with the cattle and chickens full time. But then when she got injured, I had to pull those plans back. And at this point, because we're so late in the season, I'm not trying to retrain her. And she's been doing really well with the birds too, which I've actually been surprised to see her come around. And so, yeah, she won't be there. I'll actually be... Ooh, excuse me. I will. I wolfed down my lunch right before here, so just fair warning. Basically, I will do a video very soon talking about Abby and the white chickens. It's probably something I'm going to shoot later this week, so stay tuned for that in a week or two. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm so glad you're here, Isa, or Isa. And we got whales. Yeah, there we go. Go Bobcats. No. It's actually the Peacham barn cats. So I don't know. I've been experimenting with merch. This is not available yet. Like a Peacham Barn Cats t-shirt, I might make it available. But essentially experimenting with the idea of making fake sports team apparel for the Peacham Barn Cats, because the town I live in is Peacham, Vermont, and I really love my barn cats. Okay, what other questions we got here? I'm having so much fun. Hey, what's up, Assassin? Good to see you, buddy. So are you going to do more 360 videos? I might. You know, here's the thing. Like, a lot of people complain when I make the 360 videos. So I think anybody who has, like, an Oculus loves them. I personally love them. I love them because it's like going into a time machine and visiting my farm from a time that's past. And I don't know, I get very nostalgic for that and think about a lot of things. And so... there's a nice part for me personally in doing 360 videos. So I don't know, Assassin. I might actually do one soon. Just again, because like you never get time back. It goes. And so yeah. Sorry. Getting sentimental here. Have you considered growing more grains for the birds next year? You know, James, I might. Like, I think the experiment I had with the hoop coop showed that it's actually pretty easy. And given that I have more land than I do grazing animals right now, I might convert a little bit of that into growing more grains so that I'm doing stuff directly on the farm. I think the big gating factor would be, can I get the tractor implements that I need to do that? So, for example, I would probably need something to... you know, essentially initially, even though I like the idea of doing no-till growing, like I probably would need to do some initial tilling to get some stuff established. And then I'd probably need a seeder, and I'd probably need a way to harvest. And so I'm going to look into that this winter and see if there's anybody I could work with around that. Yeah, that's a possibility, James. What is the story name of Captain Janeway? Oh, Julie, I would love to tell you this one. So... what Julie's referring to is, within my weird chickens, there is this one Rhode Island red chicken who I call Captain Janeway. She used to be part of my main flock, but she kept running away, and she actually got the name Runaway Red. Now, this is where this gets kind of weird, and like you have to kind of go with me on it. I didn't name her Red like the character in Orange the New Black, but like for some reason I kind of was associating her with Red every time I called her Red. And so when she moved, I decided, hey, let's not give her the Runaway Red name anymore, but let me name her after a different Kate Mulgrew character. And for those who know this, Kate Mulgrew is the actress who played Captain Janeway in Star Trek Voyager, as well as the actress who played Red in Orange is the New Black. And so yeah, that's the story. I know it's totally weird, but I like it, and I think it's kind of funny to have a chicken named Captain Janeway. So there you go. Yeah, you know what, Wee Wee? Amanda Hug and Kiss, who is Baby B's mother, is you know, she was like a cow I added like late last fall. And at first she was kind of ostracized, and she was the low woman on the totem pole. I think she kind of still is the low cow on the totem pole, but like she's definitely more accepted. She doesn't wander anymore. Ever since she had her baby, she's been like right there with the rest of the herd. And so I think it has improved, to answer your question. And yeah, I probably will also be looking to integrate more soon, but nothing to report on that one yet. If I DIY tomorrow, what will happen to your farm? That's a funny typo, Moroccan Brian. I think the question is if I die tomorrow, but if I do it myself tomorrow, what will happen to the farm? I mean, pretty much everything, because I usually do it myself here on the farm. Sorry, don't mean to be snide, Moroccan Brian. I guess to bluntly answer your question, it would be tough. I think, I've got some friends who could probably step in and help with the animals temporarily. But if I had to guess, Allison would probably disperse the animals. And then in terms of long-term, what would happen? I don't know. I'd hope we'd be able to find a different farmer who'd want to take on the land and the project. And quite honestly, that's what it would be. It's a thought that makes me really sad, so I will admit that. And, I don't know. Nobody ever likes to confront their own mortality. But that is the honest truth. When are you... Oh, sorry. Didn't click it, so you guys can't see it. When are you planning to breed the cattle? Honestly, I think it's happening right now. So our bull, Macho Man Randy Savage, is out with the cows as we speak. He has been putting in the work. I've seen it happen many a time. And based on what I'm seeing, my cows have not gone into the latest heat cycle that they should have at this point. And so my hope or hunch is that they're all pregnant and bred. And so in theory, I could probably have 5 calves next year, all the offspring of Macho Man. And so I don't know if that's the case yet, but I'm hoping that is the case. So honestly, guys, stay tuned. Hello, Jenny in England. Yeah, see, this is cool. All my UK friends. You got William up in Glasgow. I'm pumped about this. Hi, Morgan. What sheep are your favorite hair, sheep or wool sheep? Okay, so Antonio, I will put out a YouTube video tomorrow actually talking about adding new animals to the farm. And just to kind of spoil it for you guys, the animal I'm most considering is sheep. And potentially adding a handful of sheep next year is like a little bit of a test run to see if I like it or not. So I won't get hyper focused on breed, but I do think I want to raise hair sheep. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. I do think I want to raise wool sheep. So sheep that produce wool versus hair sheep, like a breed like Katahdin, who don't need to be sheared. The reason I like the wool is I actually see there's a lot of function and value in wool. I wear a ton of wool myself. Like in the winter months, it's like exclusively my clothing. Even in the summer months, I have a lot of like t-shirts and socks and those things that are merino wool. And so I'm a big wool fan. And so it's like my favorite fiber to wear. Like wool and it's weird. I'm a big fan of natural fibers. I hate like synthetics. So like, basically wool and cotton are my 2 go-to fabrics. So that would be it. It would be wool sheep. How did the owner of the array get the community to come in on the project? Well, actually, so what Nancy's referring to is Monday, I put out a video talking about the new solar array that's actually directly next to our farm. And just to be very, very clear about this one, I'm actually a big fan of it. And we are actually, like, the farm is, so it's not technically Morgan Gold, it's Goldshaw Farm LLC, is a member of the co-op.
Jeez,
and here, I'm just going to show you the video so you can see what I'm talking about. So yeah, this was a project that they started the construction on it this spring, and overall, I think it turned out really well. A lot of the credit in terms of what got built there goes to my neighbor, Frank. So Frank is the guy who lives next door to me. I think he sort of helped get it moving because he was interested in the idea. And then our town here in Peacham has an energy committee, which technically I think I'm a part of. And Allie, who's the woman who chairs the energy committee, she really was spearheading trying to find a way to develop more local solar here in Peacham, because one of the objectives of the state of Vermont's energy plan is to have more renewable energy production within the state to make us less reliant on Quebec, make us less reliant on fossil fuels. And so, like, because of that, the state is really looking to promote this sort of development. And so they were looking for sites, and this became one of those sites that seemed to match a lot of different criteria in terms of exposure, in terms of current use activity, and in terms of openness from the neighbors. And so that's quite honestly how we ended up with that. And so there you have it. How's the new chicken coop coming along? I don't know, Pat. You might be watching an old video, because I have no plans to build any more chicken coops this fall. I have some improvements I'm going to be doing to the hoop coop doors. That's the only thing I can think of. So yeah. So Jack, if I was gonna say what breed of sheep do I want, I would say the number one choice that I have. I don't know. So my personal preference would be to do Icelandic sheep. I have some friends who were Icelandic sheep farmers. I have another friend who actually still is an Icelandic sheep farmer, and I love them as a breed. They are a little bit smaller framed, and so their bodies produce less meat. And Allison actually doesn't love them. She doesn't think they're as cute. She wants like the fluffy cloud sheep, and so I don't know. We're gonna see who wins out on that one. So no determination on breed yet. I do not own a donkey. Hey Charlie, no, you're allowed to ask. So the white cow is not coming. I'm not going to get into the specifics of why, but yeah, no, the white cow I was hoping to have join the farm, she is not coming. Well, I'm glad you like it. You know, I know this is controversial, and I'm sure I'm going to see comments. And if you guys do feel this way, please, if you're watching this in like the live stream archived, and you're mad that you didn't join it live because it didn't happen at night like it usually does, let me know down in the comments. I'm curious. I just like I might just keep moving it around. I might just leave it as a fixed time. But yeah, no, Don, I am so excited too. It's the book has been a long time coming. That is for sure. Oh, thanks, Rose. I really appreciate that. So yeah, don't mean to distract you guys with all the solar stuff. All right, you need a pig book too. I don't know if there's ever going to be a pig book. So there is actually a second book. So actually, I'm willing to talk about this now. There is a second book. It's actually going to be about my friend Lil Barncat over there and some of her adventures from a couple of years ago. And so, like, my intention here is for these books to be a series, and so the Toby Dog book is meant to be very much the first book in the series. The next book would actually be about Lil Barncat. There's a third book that I actually don't even want to give it away because I feel like it ruins the second book. But then the fourth book would actually, because I know a lot of people have asked this, like when would you see, Abby Dog and Molly and Ginny? They would end up appearing in the fourth book, maybe the third book. I don't know, but definitely not the first or second books. So, Mitch, my cattle are doing pretty good. So, they don't love it. This is definitely the most stressful time of year for my cattle. As you guys know, I have those shaggy cows and those Scottish Highlands with their thick coat. Even though it sheds in the summer, it's still like they're not happy when it's 85 degrees. I make sure that they have plenty of drinking water and cool, fresh drinking water. So that's kind of one modification I deal with. I think the other one is I make sure they have their little shade mobile, so they always have access to shade if they need it, because the heat is one thing, but the direct sun is actually even more brutal for them, and so that's a big part of what I do. So yeah. And then I actually, the other thing I do is I actually give them a little bit more grazing pasture so they're not as tightly clumped together. Oh, Leonard, I would actually love to do that. And maybe the book live stream, I probably will have Toby Dog as a star of that. But basically, I don't think I can do it today just for how the technology is all set up right now. What is your timeline for breeding your cows or getting new ones? Thanks. Well, Carol, like I was said earlier, like the breeding is going on as we speak. I'm hoping actually they are already bred. But in terms of getting new ones, I don't have anything to report just yet, but I'm hoping to add a few more. Okay, I'm going to jump ahead here because I know I'm way behind. Like I'm answering questions from 12:10 and it's almost 12:30 already. Yeah, D, I think you're kind of right. I have a similar interpretation, and so I just wish I could help other people too. I mean, it's sort of almost selfish to say, well, I'm not dealing with a problem, so it's no longer a problem. I try to avoid thinking like that. What's that red contraption over your right shoulder? Looks like something Doc Brown would use. Red contraption. I'm going to only guess that you're talking about my cabinet here. This cabinet, here, I'll show you. It's just like a place where I store camera gear. So, like, for example, like here's a container full of like microphone thingies. This is a lunchbox that I have filled with like camera mounts. Like, when I do like the cat camera, like when you see like it mounted on one of the cats, I'm using this. So it's just like a storage locker that I use. I think I got it at like Harbor Freight or somewhere. Yeah. It was actually dented, and so I got it on sale, and it was really cheap. And yeah, it's a good cabinet. I've been using it for years. Okay. When the gaming stream. You know what, Zocker? I actually think there's a chance I might do some gaming stream nights this winter. If you guys tuned in to the 24-hour live stream I did earlier this summer, there, like in the late hours when I was just candidly trying to fill some time, I decided to pull out my retro gaming device and play some NHL 94. I actually could see that continuing to happen. And so yeah, like it's possible. It would be a wintertime thing. It would not be a summer thing. I just don't have the time these days. Okay, what is that post you made true about everything being fake? All right, I think I know what this is. So what Bill's referring to is my April Fool's joke for 2023 was I made a video that I actually shot in this office where I pulled down the green screen. Sorry, Lil, I know you're going to like this. So this green screen right here, I pulled it down. And I pretended like I'm an actor and everything is fake, but quite honestly, that's not true. Everything is 100% real. Yeah, it was an April Fool's joke. If you guys have been watching me for a while, over the years, I've done a number of April Fool's jokes. I think I did one where I was talking about I was getting livestock guardian tigers. I did another one talking about how I had a plan to milk bears and start doing cheese made from bears. And, you know, like I faked that. And so it's just me having fun. And I actually think I probably shouldn't have done that now because so many people were confused. I think I probably did too good of a job in making that video. And so, yeah, I don't know. Lesson learned. I'd be curious what other people think about that, but it fooled a lot of people. Like I still get emails and comments from people who insist that the farm is fake and they just see that video and they believe everything. No. It was like, it was an April Fool's joke, guys. Look at the posting date very, very clearly. Yeah, that is actually pretty funny, Deborah. Oh, hey, Molly. When will the pigs go to freezer camp? They will go, I think, I don't know, I have my exact date. I think it's like October 1st. So very early October is when they're going to go into the freezer. So they're getting to be big. They are big, hefty girls. You know, it's funny. I was actually, again, watching this, like intro that I edited this probably back in, I don't know, maybe June or early July, and just seeing the pigs then versus now. Let's see if I can get to the shot that has the pigs. Where's that shot of the pigs? There they are. Like, I mean, seeing them now versus what they look like in this shot, like, it's kind of crazy. They are easily 3 times, I don't know, they're massive. So yeah. How's the weird baby chicks doing? All 3 of them are doing outstanding. So Rosie and her 3 babies that are living in the dog barn are doing really well. They're growing up. They're very happy and healthy. I will probably actually try to integrate them in with the rest of the weird chickens in the next, I don't know, probably next 2 weeks or so. So stay tuned. Oh, well, I'm happy that helps you out there, Twin Mom. And hopefully, yeah. Have you ever had your animals follow other animals not on farm? I mean, I've had my ducks and wild ducks kind of integrate, but they don't really follow each other. Nobody's like left to go pursue a wild animal. The dogs have had issues where they barked at them, but they don't like try to escape. So I think that's the positive. How is Abby's leg doing? Abby's leg is actually doing really well. She's pretty much fully healed up. Like, I can still see the scar there, but I'm not seeing any, like, you know, reopening of the wound or anything. And so I think we have gotten past that episode at this point. What's up there, Zachary? Good to see you, buddy. Hey, Wonder Bee. No, Kelly, I will probably never get horses. I'm just not a horse guy. I don't know how else to put it. I feel like, I don't know. I much prefer my e-bike to horses, and not to say that they're exactly the same thing. I just, you know, in terms of quickly getting around in a simple way around my farm, I'm a true believer in using the e-bike. What made you get into silkies? Will you ever sell? You know, Maddie, I will probably sell a couple of my silkies at some point, and yeah, you'll probably see it like an ad for it pop up in the video. By the way, if anybody, I'll save that for a second. Hold on, let me finish your question, Maddie. And so I will probably sell silkies at some point. I've tried to give like roosters away before, just because like I don't want to keep them in my flock and have like mixed genetics or inbred genetics, I should say. In terms of what made me get into it, honestly, it was sort of accidental. We needed a chicken to be a companion for Margie the murder chicken, and the only chicken I had immediately available was a weird silky by the name of Bernie. And then from there, just it's been a science project that, I don't know, I've debated about getting rid of at times, but I don't know. They're kind of fun. They don't really serve a purpose. They're not a business. It's just, I don't know. Sometimes it's nice to do stuff around the farm where you're just kind of having fun with it all. Ooh, okay. Hold on. Uh-oh. All right, there it goes. Hey, what's going on, Carla? Good to see you. Italy. Yeah, see, this is cool. I mean, again, to all my East Coast and West Coast friends here in the United States, I apologize for doing this in the middle of the day when folks are working or in school. But, you know, my European friends are always like fast asleep when I'm typically doing these. And so I wanted to give them a chance. So I am still brushing Randy pretty much every day, still working with him and getting close with him every single day. I am not doing the halter stuff, which I probably should be, but I just get so busy with all the other things I got to do. But I try to do it at least, you know, a couple times a month, just so he doesn't get out of practice. He's been very receptive to it. He is an incredibly gentle bull, and I feel very, very lucky to have him. Yeah, so, but I'm not doing it. Probably in the winter, I will actually go back to doing it daily, just because it's so much easier to do it when he's just in the winter cattle yard versus like I've got all my other summer farm chores to do. And it's just a lot, like, you know, look, to be very clear, doing my winter chores in the winter, which is redundant, apologies. But doing my winter chores takes me about 45 minutes, half an hour, 45 minutes. It's not a laborious thing. And so I have lots of time to linger and just spend time with the animals more so than I do right now, because like I timed it this morning because I was just curious about this. It took me like I moved the heifers this morning, so it takes a little longer than usual, but it was like about 2.5 hours of work between moving the heifers to a new pasture, moving the adult cows to a new pasture paddock, and like all my other stuff with the birds. Like, you know, I had to refill the duck and goose feeders, which is like, you know, that's an activity I do probably twice a week. And so there was just like a lot of stuff to do. And so it took me about 2.5 hours today. I just didn't have time to work with Randy, for example. Talk pigs. What's going on there, Rebecca? Good to see you in Sweden there. Will you ever breed them? Keep some in terraforming in the spring. Okay. So I know I've said this, that I won't be getting pigs next year. I might still end up with a couple more pigs. I will not be breeding pigs anytime soon. So I can guarantee that in the next 24 months, I will not be breeding pigs. Maybe 24 months long. I won't be breeding pigs in the next 12 months. Guaranteed 100%. I would say there's maybe a 25% chance of me getting pigs next year. And that 25% chance actually speaks exactly to what you're saying, Rebecca, around terraforming. And for those who are not familiar with it, terraforming is the practice of, you know, kind of reshaping the land. And I have been very impressed with how the pigs have reshaped that edge area around my woods and what they've done within my forest. And like, I'm super happy with that. My friend Anne of all trades down in Tennessee, I was actually just visiting with her, which you'll see pop up in a video on Saturday. I think Saturday. She actually has an experiment going on right now where she's trying to use pigs to rehab her pond. I might be digging a pond this fall, and if I do, then I would probably definitely get pigs and add the pigs to that pond. So that's I guess the answer to your question. You know, Don, I'm 100% of that opinion as well, and so if there's more viewers and more people are appreciating it and able to experience it in sort of a VR way, I will be doing way more 360 videos because I love producing them and I love experiencing them. It's just more, it seems like the general consensus from you guys is they're kind of meh. And I get it, because like if you're watching a 360 video on your phone, it's not as good as a regular video, because it's like you got to work to move it around, but you don't have the immersive experience of watching it with a VR headset. Oh, cool. All right. People are really liking the idea of fake sports team apparel. So look for that very soon. Susan, yeah, I'm going to do, once I'm finished with everything, a new barn tour video. It's going to be probably a couple more weeks, though. Wow, Nash, that's a deep question. Let me try to, like, give you a, 12-inch shallow wade into that question, because I'm not going to get into the depths of it. So there are different things. So, for example, our land is taxed differently because it's held in the Vermont Land Trust and it's held in Vermont's current use program. So it's more affordable to own a large parcel of land if you're keeping it in forest or if you're keeping it in agriculture land. And so I think technically we're like 162 or 163 acres is our parcel. Of that land, like 160 of it is actually in current use, whether it be forestry or agriculture land. And so that makes it much, much more affordable. And so that's like one biggie. There's all sorts of business tax management stuff, which I'm not even going to venture into. That's another consideration. Is it hard raising ducks? They are so cute. Can I raise one in a house? Okay, so Chase, couple things. Ducks are harder to raise as ducklings than chicks or goslings or turklets. I don't know, whatever you call baby turkeys. They're harder. They are messy. They, do chaos with their water. You have to give them water where they can submerge their head, but you also have to be careful that they don't get into too much water, that they give themselves a chill. And so it's just a lot more work keeping them clean and not smelling and keeping them from making a mess. And the more ducks you have, the harder it is. So like, just know that. Not to say that it's impossible or like undoable. It's harder than chicks. Like, objectively, like, I think actually adult ducks in some ways are easier than adult chickens, but if I'm comparing baby chicks to ducklings, it's chicks all day, like no doubt about it. In terms of can I raise one in a house, number one, you should never ever raise just one duck. Ducks, chickens, geese, turkeys, all of those birds that people love to raise on farms should always be raised with other birds. You could raise a duckling with a couple of chicks. You could raise a couple of ducklings with a gosling. Like you can do combinations, but they need to have other baby birds that they're being raised with, or they will be very unhappy, or they will have severe behavioral and developmental problems. And they might not thrive. And so I think it's a huge mistake to only ever just raise one. For people who are just starting out, the minimum number I actually always suggest is 3. The reason I suggest 3 is because, sometimes something can happen and you can lose one. And if that's the case, you still have 2 and they can grow up together and they'll be fine. But you never want to do just one. I think if it's your first time and you're dipping your toe in, between 3 and 6 is the appropriate number to target. So that's my advice there. As far as raising them in the house, Chase, I would say you can get away with it for a week, but after that first week, you're not going to want them in your house. You're going to want them outside somewhere. The smell will get so awful. As they get bigger, they make more of a mess and they need more space, and you're not going to have that space in your house. And so I think having a place that you're planning on raising them outside, whether it be in a barn or a heated shed or something where you can get them heat for their brooder, because they're going to still need it, but at the same time they're not like completely in a situation where they're in your house, that would be my recommendation. What I actually found worked really well with my goslings this year is I would hatch them, and then the first 3 days of life, I would actually keep them in the mudroom. And the reason I did that was I found that it just let me respond to their needs better. My mortality rate was amazing. I think I lost 2 goslings all spring, and those 2 goslings were goslings that just didn't develop right, and I had to assist their hatch to begin with, and they were never looking good. And so I don't feel like that was a failure in how they were treated. And everybody, when they went outside, was thriving. And so my new approach is I really want to try to actually do like 2 or 3 days inside. Once they start to really like pep up and get active, that's when I move them out to the brooder. And then by like week 3, they're out and free ranging. All right, I know I am so behind. I'm looking at 12:10 is my last question I answered. All right, I'm going to jump ahead. I apologize if I'm skipping your question. Do you think geese could sufficiently graze if a farm didn't want to keep cows? It depends. I mean, it's a ratio thing. So if I had 2 acres of pasture, I think, like 15 to 20 geese, you could perfectly rotate them over the course of an entire, and I'm just going to use my Vermont, spring, summer, fall cycle. Like that entire period, I could keep those geese on that area and pretty much always have them in grass and always keep rotating them through. So I wouldn't keep them in the same spot, and I wouldn't give them all 2 acres at once, but I would move them through there. And so I think actually, like if I were to use like a planning assumption of, let's call it 8 geese per acre, like that's what you need. And so if you have more than, like if your ratio is off from that 8 to 1, I think you're going to actually be hard pressed to have the geese maintain the grass. And what I've found is, and I actually see this playing out in my permaculture orchard right now, there'll be certain parts where they'll just ignore and they'll focus on other parts. Like some parts of the permaculture orchard right now look like a putting green. Other parts are 4 foot of grass. And so, doing more rotation with them is something I'm going to be working on how I do that for next year. But my planning assumption, and again, this is like, I have not really proven this, but this is just based on my observation within my context. So please take that with that grain of salt. You could probably have 8 geese for every acre, and they will maintain that acre for you if you have those 8 geese. 16 2 acres, 32 4 acres, et cetera, like it kind of goes up from there. I'm sure there's probably something kind of from an exponential standpoint that starts to shift with those numbers, but I'm just giving you some rough estimates. Oh, Ashley, like I teased earlier, I'm going to try to shoot a video later this week really delving into this one, so stay tuned. D, the bees are doing so good. I just pulled some honey out. I didn't shoot it on video because I hate making bee videos, but I did just pull some honey out, and I will probably pull out some more, so stay tuned. I might make a year-end bee video. We'll see. Oh, Scottish blackface. That's actually what Allison wants. Allison actually, what she really loves is the Valet, which I think is a Swiss breed. Valet blackface. But Scottish blackface would also be something that Allison would love. I'm not against them. I want to be careful. Andrea, oh my gosh, I miss you guys so much. We got to catch up at some point. By the way, guys, if you ever want to see a great farm that puts their videos on YouTube, be sure to check out VW Farm. Really good to see you, Andrea. I miss you guys. I know I'm not going to see you in Virginia this year, which is usually where we catch up, but we'll have to find some other way to catch up. But yeah, Ben and Andrea are just awesome people, and I love them. Seriously. All right. Will I be selling pork? I won't be selling pork retail. Because of the way I'm butchering them, I can't sell it retail. I actually don't want to get into the specifics of it because I want to be careful with how I say some of these things. But I will not be selling pork retail. Yeah. I might be selling pigs, but I won't be selling pork, if that makes sense. No, Norma. We have no plans for kids. My wife and I, we are childless by choice. Really happy with that decision. It's something that we talked about even when we were dating. Raising kids isn't for everybody, and it wasn't for us. Oh, Rana, a lot of people have been asking me this question, so I really should address this. So I appreciate you bringing it up. So a few years back, I started a project where every time I brushed Toby dog, I would get like just clumps and clumps of fur because he just sheds ridiculously. Like, I mean, heck, I just brushed him this morning and my shirt, like this is one of the reasons I had to change before I did this live stream, was just covered in hair and just like gross. But I was saving all of his fur because my dream was to like one day make a sweater out of Toby dog's fur. But I've actually found a couple of people who've offered to help me with that over the years. But I had a problem where like I started to develop like mold in the fur bags that I was keeping, and so I had to throw them out. And then when it came time to start over, I was kind of like defeated, and so I have kind of given up, to be quite honest. I don't know. I know, maybe if I did. So it's funny, like Abby sheds so much less than Toby. Like her coat is just so different than his. I mean, her coat will thicken in winter, but nothing like his, and his is still very thick relative to hers right now. But maybe if I try to add both of them, and I had some wool from sheep, maybe I can mix them all together and it'd be like a farm blend, but I don't know, we'll see. Hair sheep have less lanolin, so the meat flavor is better than wool sheep. Yeah, I think that is like that, what's that? I actually don't mind it, but I know a lot of people do. So I think, Rose, you raise a really good point there, too. That's worth considering. Which is why, I actually think this is another point, Rose, like to why I'm saying what I say about, like, the year one of sheep being an experiment, like sort of testing some of these things out is part of why I want to like dip my toe into raising sheep. And so I feel like I've developed very good skills with working with, grazing ruminants with the cattle and, other things like that. And so I feel like I'd be ready to test those skills with working with sheep, but I also know that they're a very different animal and they come with their own problems, particularly on the parasite side and, the marketing and sales side for the product and how to harvest and what to do with the harvest, all that stuff. Like they're all considerations, which is why whenever I talk to people about only adding one animal to per year, that's why I think it's like really important to do that, because you want to be very thoughtful with the sequence and there's a lot to learn, and so dive in. And so I will dive in with a handful. Like I'm talking probably 4 to 6 sheep next year. They might not even be the breed that I keep long term, but I'm going to see what I like and then kind of experiment from there. All right. Can I increase my audio? Okay, so Giovanni, you're the first one to say this, so I don't know. It might be on your end. Usually when I'm doing bad on audio, usually that's a sign of like everybody will tell me. So I don't know. Since you're the first comment and it's been 45 minutes, I'm gonna guess it's you. Yeah, Missy, I know. Allison really wants Valet Blacknose. Like if I can find a good herd of them, or flock, I should say, I could see doing it. So Maggie, the pumpkins have bounced back and are doing great. Like I'm gonna have a ton of pumpkins to harvest from the geese, or for the geese and ducks and chickens and even cattle. I'm gonna give them a little bit for deworming purposes. But the buckwheat and oats, no luck. The kale, no luck. Those are dead. All right, I'm jumping ahead here. Okay. Well, I'm again, Natalia. I'm glad to hear it. Like, was filming the garden destruction a cold react? You do not seem as pissed as you should have been. Oh, Sarah. So do you mean like when the geese got into the hoop group? That was 100% a cold react. Yes. You know what? I don't know. I think I'm much more even keeled than most people give me credit for. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but like, yeah, like it's funny that video, the one you're talking about. My plan was to actually make a video talking about some things with the cattle eating trees. Like that was like my whole vision for what that video was supposed to be, and I just ditched it entirely when I got out there the morning and like saw that was what's going on. I mean, sometimes when I make videos, I mean that's just what happens. It's like, I will oftentimes have the camera running. I probably shoot like 3, maybe 4 times a week. And then the other days I don't even have the camera running. And so then it might be like my phone that I first catch something with it. But that day I just happened to be shooting a different vlog and nope, changed my mind once that happened. That's awesome, Rose. I'm glad it works for you too. Like again, I was so wondering. And by the way, Rose is one of my moderators, so be sure to check out Wholesome Roots. She does some great content. Don from Little Mountain Life, who's the other moderator I've seen in here. I hope I'm not missing anybody else, but yeah, like give them love. They're great folks, and these live streams would not be possible without them. And actually, speaking of this live stream, and I want to thank everybody. I haven't been seeing the notifications come in, but thank everybody who's donated so far today. So September is really kind of a month that we often will step back and reflect on mental health awareness. And so I wanted to make today's farm meeting a fundraiser for those affected by suicide and hold on, let me just get the info so I'm not stumbling through this. Sorry. Yeah, so it is a donation for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. I don't get any money. The money goes directly to them because in particular, there really is a crisis in the United States related to farmers and suicide. And so, I really want to try to do it. I'm going to do a video on this topic later this month. So stay tuned for that. Sarah, if the situation presented itself, I definitely would. I mean, I like them. I think they're very pretty. I'd actually be very curious to see how they blend. I think actually, if I have a white cow and Macho Man and they're blending, I think it either makes a dun or a silver. is like the offspring. And so I think those would be really cool Highlands. And so I would definitely do it. Oh, thank you for the reminder, Rose. So yes, this weekend, this Saturday, I'm going to be speaking on a couple of different panels at Homesteaders of New England. So Homesteaders of New England is an event my buddy Jack Paulner from the Mindful Homestead is running. We did the first one last year. It was a blast. I had an amazing time. I'm going to be doing one panel talking about, finding your perfect homestead. And then I'm going to be doing another panel talking about, how just moving to a homestead won't be the thing that makes you happy. And so, yeah, if anybody wants to check it out, here, I'm going to drop a link in here. Homesteaders of New England. Bear with me, guys. Thank you for the reminder, Rose, by the way. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Homesteaders of New England. Boom. And so, yes, if you go to the Homesteaders of New England website, you will be able to get a link to the event. It's going to have myself, Al Lumna is going to be there. The team from Murray McMurray Hatchery is going to be there. It should be a whole heck of a lot of fun. I am super looking forward to it. Here, let me just actually share my screen and do this proper. So here you go. I'm going to drop the link in here. And like I said, I had a blast. It's like, some of these homesteading events have become just so big and like almost overwhelming. Homesteaders New England, it's very chill. It's very low key. It's great people. Just like a really good time. And so, yeah, if you want to check it out, I will be there Saturday. It's running Saturday and Sunday. I will be there all day Saturday hanging out. I'll be speaking a couple of times, but then when I'm not speaking, honestly, I'm just going to be there to hang out with you guys. And so if anybody's in New England and wants to hang out with me on Saturday, go to the Homesteaders of New England event, the fall gathering. You can buy tickets. But yeah, check it out. It's a lot of fun. In Greenfield, New Hampshire. So it's like sort of in the middle of New Hampshire if you're looking for it. It's really relatively affordable too. So Homesteaders of New England. Oh, and this just in. Hold on. I just got a coupon code for Goldshaw Farm viewers from my buddy Jack. So, So if you use the code Goldshaw at checkout when you go to register for the Homesteaders of New England event, you can actually get 10% off. So use the code Goldshaw, just Goldshaw, all together, no spaces. If you use that coupon code, you will get 10% off your tickets. So, you'll save $3.50, I believe. So yeah, check it out. Homesteaders of New England. There you go. So I am not going to be doing a calendar this year, unfortunately. I did the experiment of doing the calendar last year, and I know this month it's I think it's Allison and Barbara the chicken. It's a really great picture. I opted not to do it just because I've got so much going on related to the promotion of the book. There's actually going to be a Toby dog action figure that's going to be like a special giveaway with the book, which all right, you guys want another sneak preview of something cool? And these are all my excuses for why I'm not doing a calendar. I just got overwhelmed with other stuff. But like the promotion of the book, there's going to be I actually made like a fake action figure package that's going to be like a promotional giveaway for folks who are buying the book. And so, hang on, I'm going to share the promotional view for you guys. Present, stop screen, share screen. Window, Photoshop. There we go. So yes, you can see it right here. So this is what the new package for the Toby dog action figure looks like. There's also going to be a like the back of it is actually, I had so much fun with this. I mocked it up kind of like it's an old G.I. Joe package. And so I made like fake images of fake other characters from the Toby Dog book that are going to be in there. So that'll be there. I even made like a little like card. Like, I don't know if you guys remember the old G.I. Joe action figures. They had these like little write-ups. So I basically made that. And so there is this Toby Dog action figure that's going to be there. And there's going to be a special giveaway for certain folks who are ordering the Toby Dog book. I'm going to release details on that very soon, but that's where you're going to be able to get the action figure. If you're curious about it, drop a comment down below. I'd love to hear it. Dragon Brat, no luck on finding the trail cam thief. Still, it's just it's one of those mysteries. All right, I'm jumping ahead. We're still at only 12:30. I'm like a half hour in. Hey, Danny from Wicked Awesome Gardening. I'm actually going to be on a panel with Danny at Homesteaders of New England this Saturday. I think you're on that panel, right, Danny? So yeah, good to see you, Danny. How many ducks and geese did I actually hatch? So I hatched, well, technically the mama duck hatched 16 ducklings. Unfortunately, most of them died in the flood. So yeah, that's there. In terms of geese, gosh, I don't even know the final number. It was north of 70, I think. I had a lot of hatch. I'm gonna do a video later this fall breaking down my hatching numbers and what I did to improve it, because it actually went up significantly and I did a lot better this year. Oh, that's such a good idea, Wrench Doozer. I love it. And by the way, I love your name, the Doozer, with the little Doozer avatar. That's great. How often did you go to the mall, Hartford Civic Center, to watch the Whalers? Pretty regularly, Todd. So my next door neighbor, I called him Mr. Marty, but anyway, my next door neighbor, he actually had season tickets, and so sometimes I would get his tickets, and I loved going Whalers games. So I'd go probably, I don't know, somewhere between 6 and 10 times a year. And yeah, I loved it. That's how I ended up being a diehard Hartford Whalers fan. The other thing was, I would, as a kid, and I was a weird kid, so this is why this happens. As a kid, I would listen to my radio to fall asleep at night, and I would always listen to WTIC AM 1080. And when I was listening, they would either have Red Sox games, if it was like, you know, the summertime or the fall, or they would have like call-in radio shows, which I don't know, I developed this very weird affinity for folks like Bruce Williams and such, or they would have Whalers games, you know, broadcast by the great Chuck Caton. And so it was like that also helped feed it. And that's why, like, when the Whalers left Hartford, I swore off hockey because it was like such an offense to me. And I went, I don't know, darn near 20 years, or probably just about 20 years before, I guess a little less than 20 years, before I adopted a new NHL team, which is now, I'm a Washington Capitals fan, because like I couldn't see myself becoming a Bruins fan or a Rangers fan or an Islanders fan, because they were like always rivals of the Whalers. And so it wasn't until I moved to DC and I started to go to Caps games because of my buddy Troy, and ultimately getting season tickets to Caps games for a couple of years, that I really got into it. Okay, I'm going to keep going here and answering questions. Rose is surprised how many people didn't realize it was a joke. I was surprised how many people didn't realize it was a joke either, that it was an April Fool's thing. I know. All right, I'm so behind on questions. I apologize, guys. This is fun hanging out with you, though. I always enjoy this. All right, let's hit a couple more. Have I ever met a big YouTuber or had one on your farm? I'm trying to think. I actually haven't had a ton of big YouTubers on my farm. I'm going to have two. All right, this is a tease. I'm going to have two very big YouTubers who are not in like the farming or homesteading niche, like anything like related. Like, you're going to be like, wait a minute, how are these worlds colliding? But it's actually a very funny story. But yeah, a couple friends of mine who are big YouTubers who live in Los Angeles are going to be coming out here later this fall. So that'll be the first time. 100% agree with you, Judy. I 100% agree. So honestly, I haven't had a lot of issues with those things, 1022 companion. I think that the reason I haven't had a lot of disease issues with my ducks, geese, or chickens is my approach to how I keep them. Number one, I'm obsessive about giving them clean bedding. And so in the winter months, I'm doing a lot of deep bedding. I'm probably expending more money on things like straw and wood chips and other sort of filler materials than I should, because I feel like that number one makes for good compost, but then number two keeps my animals healthier. And so I think that that's actually one way I do it. And then the other way is I keep them moving and I make sure that they have plenty of space. And if the animals have plenty of space, you're going to see that they don't become as susceptible to a lot of those things like that. Oftentimes, diseases like that are a sign that you have your animals in dirty or too confined or too close or like overcrowded quarters. And so, like, you know, oftentimes people are just focused on treating that illness versus what's the cause of the illness. And I've been very focused on dealing with the cause of the illness, which has prevented me from having a lot of major problems. I think, honestly, the biggest problem I've had over the years is bumblefoot, where I've had probably, I don't know how many over the years, less than 10, maybe about 6 birds that have contracted bumblefoot over the years. Usually that comes from them getting a cut on their foot somehow, and then that cut just being on the ground and dirty, getting infected. And so that's been my biggest problem. I think other problems I've had, you know, this one actually is got me thinking about how I manage my goose flock this winter. I still have a genetic strain of angel wing in a few of my birds, and I'm trying to eliminate it, and I've tried really hard, but, you know, if you look at some of the young geese and footage of the young geese, you'll notice there are a few of them that have droopy wings. That's angel wing. It's not because of a illness. It's a genetic condition that they just overdevelop wings and they can't support them and hold them up properly, and so that's what happens there. Sometimes it's caused by diet, but because all of my birds are eating the same thing, their diet is identical. And right now, for our last, I don't know, at least 5 weeks, 6 weeks even, they have eaten barely anything other than grass, particularly for the young goslings. And so it's not a diet thing. They're not getting too much protein. It's a genetic thing. And so I actually am going to have to make some changes to my breeding flock, and it's just coming to terms with that. So Diane, I probably won't publish any more authors, but the next book would be the Lil Barn Cat book, which, and I saw somebody ask this question earlier, but I forgot to tag it. When I write this second book, yeah, there was a lot of lessons learned with writing the first, so I don't expect the time window to be nearly as long. I think it would be aggressive to say that the Lil Barn Cat book's going to be out next fall, but it's not going to be as long a period. It'll be maybe a year, maybe a little over a year that it takes to get the next book. I mean, I haven't written it yet, so I don't want to like overpromise, but my intention is to have it completely written over the course of the winter, do all the production stuff on it in the summer and into the fall, and probably be wrapped up so that, I don't know, maybe it would be pushing it to try to get done this year. I think the more likely it'll be probably the first quarter of 2024. Okay, I'm going to keep going here. I actually am going to have to run in a couple minutes, but all right, I'm jumping ahead. Yes, Katrina, it is Allison holding Barbara. That is, you're 100% correct. Okay, I'm going to bust this myth, Lisa. There's really no such thing as a guard goose. Geese are prey animals. They are not an animal like a dog that can fight off true predators. Geese are more aggressive and they will scare away smaller predators like weasels and raccoons, but they're not going to fight off a coyote. Geese will get killed by coyotes, like full stop, 100%. And they are less, once they become mature though, they are less susceptible to aerial predators. And so, like, when people say they have a guard goose for their flock of like chickens, say, you know, what they're really saying is like, yeah, the geese are sort of a warning sign and a deterrent for a hawk, but they're not going to like be a real guard dog. So, yeah, there you go. Oh, hey, Rebecca, that's an interesting question. You know, I haven't, like, I mean, I use actually some of the GIS map stuff that's available from like my NRCS. That's like, I use that for planning for the farm, but I haven't gone through, especially because I've actually modified the topography a bit. I haven't like done that, but it's an interesting thought. When I talk to my NRCS guy next time, let me see what's available. Because it'd be kind of cool to like crowdsource some ideas and things. I think I would just drive some people nuts when they put a lot of time in their work and like their suggestions. and I don't follow them, and so I know that that's an inevitable risk, and I don't want to disappoint people there. Okay, all right, I'm keeping going. I'm jumping I just hit the new comments button, so I just jumped to present time here. So if I didn't answer your question, last chance to there. Will I sell cow patties? No, John Clayton. I don't think there's a market for it, man. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know if it's all that easy to store or strip. So yeah. I know, Christina. I'd mentioned this earlier, and I know you're one of the West Coast folks. By the way, congratulations on the doctorate. Christina, by the way, is a very, very smart lady who's also like a super fan and always been super, super supportive, and she's amazing. But anyway, Christina, congratulations. But yes, there is a farm meeting today just because I had some, like I said at the beginning, I had a couple things I had to do tonight. We're having some friends over for dinner, and I didn't want to move the date of the farm meeting, as well as the fact that I wanted to give a chance for folks in Europe to get a chance to join live. And so that is what's at the root of it. For example, Boris here, who's in Luxembourg, which is great to see. By the way, Boris, I've actually got a couple friends. They are out in Luxembourg too. Allison's gone out to visit them. I haven't been able to because of the farm, but yeah, it's a very, very beautiful place from what I hear. So Chase, yes, the farm is profitable. I don't have my numbers to report yet this year. I will probably do a video in December giving you the full breakdown of the farm numbers. Last year, we netted a profit of about $18,000, $500 or so, give or take a couple of bucks. So that is revenues less expenses. And so, yes, our farm is profitable even without all the social media stuff. But, also to be very clear, and thank you for the compliment, Tina, but I don't live off of that $18,000 alone. Obviously we earn money from doing social media and having merchandise or the book I hope is going to be something that actually helps give me a paycheck this year. And so there are other things that I do to earn money beyond that. I don't just live off the 18,000, but if I'm just looking at my farm operations, so the animals and plants that we do here and what we sell and what we raise, it was $18,000 plus of profit last year. What's my favorite metal band? That's a good one. Motorhead, maybe. I mean, I love Metallica, but Metallica's one of those complicated ones where I love early Metallica. I don't love later Metallica. But yeah, I love all Motorhead, so that might be there. I'm trying to think of other. Sleep. I don't know if you consider them a metal band, but I really love them. But I'm gonna give you the answer of Motorhead. I don't know. I feel pretty good about that as an answer. Iron Maiden's also pretty incredible. I'm a huge fan. No, Maddie, I don't have a day job. This is it. This is me. My day job is mostly working on the farm, and then all the other stuff usually happens off the daytime hours. But no, I do not have. I quit my day job back in January of 2022, and so for a number of years I was doing both. Kind of an office job plus the farm plus all the content. Now it's just the farm and the content. But you have to cost in labor your time input to the farm and pay yourself that way. Yeah, but here's the thing, Joseph, right? If you're differentiating between, I could give myself an hourly wage from that, but then what's the owner draw? And so it's splitting hairs because I do have expenses that I take out when it comes to say a farm sitter, or if my buddy Alfred's I'm gonna hire him to do a earthworks project for me. I pay that, and that comes out of the expenses side of the farm operations. But I don't have any other employees, and so okay, so, and I actually did this if you look at the farm finance video that I did last year, I think I did this calculation in terms of, I roughly track my hours, and I can give you an hourly number. It's not great. It's I don't know, it's $10 or something, maybe even less than that. So yeah. Would you ever break down profit from social media? No, P, I've actually said this in other places, but no, I don't think I would, because a couple things. Number one, it's one of those things where I don't think it's actually to my strategic advantage to share that when I'm dealing with sponsors and platforms. And so that's actually the main reason why I don't think I want to break it down. Yeah. So no, I mean, like I said, I'm happy to say that I earn more from kind of the social media stuff than I do the farm, and I feel very good about being transparent about that and talking about that. I don't feel like I have to share what that number is. Nobody else does. So yeah, there you go. I've played disc golf on occasion. I would not say I'm a huge fan of it, and it's not something that I like play all the time. But yeah, every once in a while I'll play with some friends. I have a game that I like to play with friends that's sort of in the same realm, and it's like we like to play like full course bocce. So you have like a bocce set, and we'll set it up around the farm, and we'll like go around like, and we'll just like, you know, like the person who won that last round point will throw the ball to another spot on the farm, and you just, rather than playing on a bocce court, you're like playing bocce, but like just roaming around the farm or wherever you are, and I love doing that. Oh yeah, no, Joseph. I mean, please, man, I don't take any offense. I think sometimes when people hear me with my kind of New England blunt pushback on something, there's no, I don't feel like you criticize me. No, but the reason I push back is it's like I just don't see the value in it. But yeah, I actually track my hours just because like I want to be able to do that calculation as I need it. I just think in terms of like trying to manage the P&L, it's less than useful. Well, Whitaker's Heritage Homestead. Yes. So I'll just let the cat out of the bag. I will be doing a live stream for when the book is released. And it'll be a longer live stream. So it'll be like one of those like kind of hang out with me type live streams. But I don't know exactly the timing of it yet. So that's why you hear me being reluctant. Like it might start on the 17th or it might be on the 18th. I'm trying to find some things out from Amazon right now. And once I have that nailed down is when I would do it. Okay, which is more easy to raise, duck, goose, or chicken? I probably would say chicken. The other birds have their own advantages, but I would probably say chicken, followed by goose, followed by duck. But yeah. Wow. See, yeah, Israel is able to participate because of the time of this. That kind of is awesome to me. Aw, thank you, Christina. I really appreciate you saying that. Are you looking for steer names? May I recognize Taylor Hawkins? Yes, from Foo Fighters. Yes, that's a good suggestion, Maggie. All right, guys, I'm going to do one last commercial here. And that commercial is for something I've already mentioned a couple times here in this live stream. And that is on September 18th, our new book, Toby Dog of Goldshaw Farm, is going to be released. There is going to be a print version. I actually have a copy of the paperback of it. There's actually a hardcover version too. I think the print is going to be $15.99. The hardcover is going to be $19.99. There is a Kindle version, so it's only $9.99. That's like meant to be the affordable one because I really do want this book to be accessible to everybody. And then there's going to be an audio version, which is going to be, I think, $15.99 as well. And the idea there is that it's like a full-on audio play of the book. It is a novel, so it is like, it's not like all pictures. It is meant to be a book. There are illustrations, though. You'll notice like every single chapter has an illustration. Zhao, who's the artist who did the cover, as well as all the illustrations, is wicked talented. And so, yeah, she's going to be featured very heavily in the book. There's even, and like, calendar fans are going to feel like this is a repeat, but everybody else won't. There's actually even like a little secret map of the farm that shows up in the book too. So there's some really cool stuff. September 18th. It would mean the world to me if you guys would, hop over and buy it. It's going to be available through Amazon. So because I'm self-publishing this book, there's a lot of complexities involved in it. And so, unfortunately, it won't be immediately available in your local bookstore, but if you go to Amazon, you'll be able to get it right out of the gate. And if you do that, it actually will make it easier for me to make it available in local bookstores. And so I know it might feel like you're buying from the evil empire by going through Amazon, but honestly, if you want to help get the distribution out there, I need to get through kind of the Amazon sales first. And so, yeah, please, by all means, check it out and give it a buy. The pre-order for the audiobook should be going on later this week, I'm hoping. But then the hardcover, I think I'm hoping is going to be soon. I'm still working on it. It might not be available till September 18th. I'm actually still trying to work through the details on that. And honestly, it's going to be one of those things where, if you guys can help get those pre-orders up, particularly on the Kindle one, like it actually helps us find more people as well as broaden the distribution. And so like, it's gonna be you guys. The other thing is if you get an early copy and you want to write a review, that also does some amazing things for us. And so, that will be much appreciated. And so like I said, Yasmin, it's going to be $15.99 for the audio version, $15.99 for the paperback version, $19.99 for the hardcover version, and $9.99 for the Kindle version, which is actually like the lowest possible price Kindle lets you set for a certain category of books, which this one is meant to slot into. The hardcover, like all of the pre-order stuff, like again, just to be very, very clear, pre-order stuff is going to be going live for a number of things in the next couple of days. We're still working through that with Amazon. And in terms of signing, I know because a lot of folks are asking, is there going to be a tour? I'm still trying to work out how I can pull this off for signing. Unfortunately, I can't do I might have like a special signature card that if you send me a self-addressed stamped envelope, I can send it back to you, which might be how it ends up going. It's going to be available, Fifi Noir, through WhisperSync. So the WhisperSync technology, which is actually really cool from Amazon, where if you have the Kindle version plus the audio version, like I can essentially read the book to you and you'll see it, the pages turn and you can see the pictures when they correspond and like all of that good stuff. So yeah, that will be there as well. And so that's going to be coming. How do you get to do a review? So we actually put out a call. If you were on the Goldshaw Farm mailing list, you got the advance notice on this. We put out a call to folks who are on our mailing list. And so we have, I think, about 50 folks who are getting preview copies to do initial early reviews. If not, feel free, like once you read the book, give it a review, Georgie. Like right on the Amazon page, you'll be able to like review it like any other product. And it would mean the world to me and make such a huge difference for us and our farm, you know, kind of for all those good reviews, because what that does is it helps the book reach, again, more folks, which is honestly my goal. Like I really want, I wrote this book because this farm means so gosh darn much to me. And the animals on this farm and their stories, I don't know, like they make me feel things. And so I wanted to convey that feeling to other people. And so if you wanted to get into like, why did I even go through the effort of writing and now self-publishing this book? What you really do want to know is that it's because I just love sharing the animal stories. And so, yes, Toby Dog of Goldshaw Farm is meant to share the story of Toby showing to the farm. It's not 100% true. Parts have been, you know, emphasized for dramatic purposes, but it is actually very much based on some very real events that happen with the farm. The Little Barn Cat book that I'm starting to work on now is also going to fall into that category. And in my mind, it's this. You know, dogs and cats and animals in general, I'm going to get weepy on this just because anytime I think about this, it makes me sad. Their mortality, like, it's real. Like, they only live a fraction of, like, say, my life. And I want to have a way to look back on them. And so, writing these books is a way for me to do that and share those feelings with other people. And so that's honestly why I do it. And so don't mean to get all choked up on you and leave on a down note, but it really comes down to that. And so anything you guys can do to support, super, super helpful. If you want to join our mailing list and find out some special things around the book, including how to maybe potentially score a Toby Dog action figure, you go to goldshawfarm.com and that's your best place to get that access there. And with that, I'm going to write off and say, have a great day. I'll talk to you guys soon. Yes, there will be a live stream for the launch of the book.